So here's exactly what happened. A version of New Body, the Kanye West and Ty Dolla track that has been sitting in various states of existence for years, started circulating online, and this version sounded different from anything that had previously leaked or been performed. Different enough that people who had been following this song closely immediately stopped and rewound it, because there was a third voice on it. Not a background vocal, not a harmonized ad-lib that could be attributed to a session singer. A full, identifiable, distinctly recognizable voice, and within minutes of the clip spreading, the comments section had already reached a consensus. That's Ice Spice. No press release dropped alongside it, no Instagram post, no tweet from her team saying surprise, no announcement from Ye's camp, no Ty Dolla sign going live to confirm it. The clip just existed, moving through group chats, fan accounts, Reddit threads, and Twitter timelines, the way unverified music always moves when it hasn't been officially sanctioned yet. And the word that started appearing in every headline, every post, every caption was appears. Not confirmed, not officially, features. Appears to have, because as of right now, nobody with direct authority over this song has publicly said, yes, Ice Spice is on New Body. That single word, appears, is what turned this from a music update into an investigation. The clip spread fast, faster than most unconfirmed music news moves, which says something about how many people were already paying attention to anything connected to this track. Within the first few hours, the reactions split into three distinct camps. First camp was immediate believers. These are the fans and followers who listened to the clip, heard the voice, and said, that's her. Full stop, no debate needed. They started tagging Ice Spice's name in posts, sharing the audio alongside her other recent appearances, and treating the feature as confirmed news regardless of what any official statement said. The second camp wanted receipts. They weren't denying what they heard. They just weren't willing to call it confirmed until someone with actual knowledge of the recording said so publicly. These are the people flooding comment sections with, but has she or anyone confirmed this though? And getting into long threads debating whether the voice is definitively hers or whether it could be a placeholder vocal, a reference track, or a different artist entirely. Third camp, and this is the most interesting group, immediately pivoted to why. Not whether Ice Spice is on the track, but why she would be added now, at this point, to a song that already had a version people had heard. What does that mean for the release? What does it say about where the project is creatively? Is this a sign that an official rollout is finally coming? Or is this just another version of a song that's been in flux forever? That third camp is the one that actually moved a story forward, because they started digging. This is where the investigation gets layered. New Body is not a new record to people who follow Ye's catalog closely. A version of the track surfaced publicly during the Yandhi era, the shelved album that was supposed to drop in 2018 and never did. That version existed in fan consciousness for years. It got discussed, dissected, and kept alive by the people who track his unreleased music the way other people track sports trades. When Vulture's One dropped in early 2024, New Body wasn't on it. When Vulture's 2 eventually followed, it still wasn't there in the form people expected. So every new version of this track that surfaces carries extra weight. Because the question of when, how, and in what form this song actually gets officially released has been open for a very long time. That history doesn't just provide background. It explains exactly why a new version with a new voice on it immediately became a major story instead of a minor update. This matters directly to today's story. The Vulture's rollout under Ye and Ty Dolla was famously untraditional. Music surfaced at listening events before it was on streaming. Tracks were played publicly before they had official release infrastructure around them. The rollout operated on its own logic, or what looked from the outside like no logic at all, and fans learned early that waiting for a formal announcement before paying attention was a way to miss what was actually happening. That rollout pattern is the exact context through which people are now reading this Ice Spice situation. Because if the Vultures campaign taught the audience anything, it's that music from this project can appear in circulation before anyone officially confirms it exists. So when a version of New Body with a new voice starts moving online, the audience is conditioned to treat that as real until proven otherwise, not as a rumor until proven real. In the months leading up to this clip surfacing, Ice Spice had been making moves that put her in proximity to exactly the kind of high-profile, unexpected collaboration that New Body would represent. She had been featured on major records. She had appeared at events and in spaces that put her in the same orbit as producers and artists connected to the Yee ecosystem. None of that is direct evidence of a studio session, but it forms a pattern of access and proximity that makes the claim feel plausible rather than random. More specifically, and this is the breadcrumb that the more forensic fans started pulling on, there had been social media activity from people loosely connected to the project that, when looked at in sequence, suggested something was happening with New Body in recent weeks. Not confirmations, not announcements, but the kind of ambient signaling that precedes music news in the era where artists and their circles can't fully control information flow. People who do audio analysis for fun, and there are more of them than you'd think, started comparing the voice on the circulating version against known Ice Spice recordings. Vocal cadence, specific pronunciation patterns, the texture of her delivery on words that appear in both the clip and her verified discography. The consensus from that community was strongly in favor of confirmation. Not unanimous, but strongly leaning. That analysis started getting shared alongside the original clip, which added a layer of evidence to what had started as pure speculation. Now it wasn't just, that sounds like Ice Spice, it was, here's a side-by-side comparison, and here's why the vocal characteristics match. That's when the story moved from music gossip to something closer to an active investigation with a body of evidence behind it. Here's what's notable. As the clip spread, as the discourse built, as headlines started using phrases like appears to feature, nobody denied it either. Ice Spice's team said nothing publicly. Yee's camp said nothing. Ty Dolla Inc. said nothing. In the current media environment, where a false report about a major artist collaboration would typically get corrected quickly, the silence from all three camps is itself a data point. It doesn't confirm anything, but a denial would have come faster if the claim were completely off base. The continued absence of any correction is a breadcrumb that the people following this story closely are absolutely tracking. Let's separate this out cleanly, because there's a lot of information moving around and not all of it carries the same weight. What is confirmed? A version of New Body featuring what sounds like a third voice is currently circulating online. The clip is real. It exists. People have heard it, and it's being widely shared. This is not a fabricated story. What is rumored? That the third voice belongs to Ice Spice specifically. This is unverified. It has not been confirmed by Ice Spice, her management, her label, Yee, Ty Dolla Inc., or anyone with direct knowledge of the recording session. It is a rumor with significant evidence behind it, but it remains a rumor until someone with authority over the project says otherwise. What fans believe. A large portion of the audience listening to this clip believes it is Ice Spice based on the vocal evidence. Beyond that, many fans believe this is not a leak in the traditional sense, meaning it didn't come from a hacker or an unauthorized third party, but rather a version that was allowed to surface intentionally, consistent with how music from this project has moved before. That belief is speculative, but it's based on a pattern that the Vultures campaign actually established. What remains unknown. Whether this is the final version of the song or one of many iterations still in progress. Whether Ice Spice was brought in recently, or whether her vocals have existed on a version of this track for longer than people realize. Whether this surfaces as an official single, as part of a larger project, or whether it continues to exist in this ambiguous space indefinitely. And most pressingly, whether anyone involved is actually going to say anything publicly. Release implications are the most immediate. New Body has existed for years without a clean official release. Every time it resurfaces, it restarts the conversation about whether this is finally the version that gets a proper rollout. The addition of Ice Spice, if confirmed, changes the commercial math of the record. Her name on a track affects streaming projections, playlist placement, and the kind of media attention the song can generate in its release window. If the Vultures project has more music coming, an Ice Spice feature on one of its most anticipated tracks would be a significant piece of release strategy, whether that strategy looks organized from the outside or not. Industry implications matter here too. Ice Spice appearing on a Ye and Ty Dolla Inc. record, officially, with her name on the credits, would be a specific kind of moment for her positioning. It places her in a creative conversation with artists who operate at a different legacy level, and it does so on a record that already carries years of fan investment. For the Vultures project, bringing in a voice that is distinctly current and distinctly of the moment serves a function. It anchors the music to now, not to the several years it's spent in the vault. Fan expectations have now been reset by this clip. Before it surfaced, New Body was a pending question. Something people expected might eventually come, but weren't actively watching for on a week-to-week basis. Now the audience is on high alert. Every social media post from anyone connected to this project is going to get scrutinized. Any hint of a listening event, any snippet, any vague caption, all of it is going to be read through the lens of this clip and what it might mean for when and how the song actually arrives. Upcoming developments to watch. The Vultures project has operated in phases. If there is a Vultures 3 or any additional release in this campaign, New Body, in some form, is the obvious candidate for inclusion. Any announcement or non-announcement from Ye's circle in the coming weeks is now going to be read against this backdrop. And Ice Spice has her own release calendar, her own projects in motion. If she surfaces in any interview or promotional context and gets asked about this, that becomes the next major moment in the story, regardless of what her answer is. So here's where this actually stands right now. A clip is out, a voice is on it. A name is being attached to that voice by thousands of people who have listened carefully and compared the evidence. No one has confirmed it. No one has denied it. The silence from all three camps is holding, and the clip keeps spreading with every hour that passes without an official statement. Question the audience is sitting with right now is not whether Ice Spice sounds good on the record. The people who've heard the clip have already answered that for themselves. The real question is whether this was the version of New Body that was always going to come out, or whether something shifted recently that changed what the song became. 'Cause if Ice Spice's vocals were added in the last few months, that suggests the song is actively in progress right now, which means a release could be genuinely close. But if her vocals have been on a version of this track for longer than anyone realizes, then this clip might represent old work finally finding its way to the surface, and the official release could still be nowhere near confirmed. Nobody knows which of those is true. Nobody outside the actual sessions knows. And until someone in that room says something publicly, until Ice Spice posts, until Ye drops something, until